Hello and welcome. I thought it might be worthwhile for me to take a quick snippet out from my much longer video about stress and how it affects us as black people in the UK to highlight issues we're facing around housing and how specifically letting agents are in cahoots with landlords to freeze us, prospective black tenants, out from the rental market. Mentioning all that brought to mind this article that I remember seeing some years back, which is actually quite relevant to what I'm saying about what we as a people have to experience. So here the BBC went undercover to expose some of the racial prejudices that we as a people have to experience when it comes to housing. It's a relatively short clip, 1 minute 30, so I'll just let it play.
I'm undercover in a flat, posing as a landlord. These are some of the many agents the BBC discovered were willing to select tenants for landlords by race.
Without openly advertising it that, no Afro-Caribbeans allowed, we would obviously, understand that it's not available.
So just in case, because I don't know what the audio, I'm hoping you can actually hear that. So what's actually happening here is there's an agent, there's a landlord who's not really a landlord. He's an undercover BBC reporter posing, pretending to be a landlord. And he's had these two chaps come over from a letting agent to give him an evaluation of how much per calendar month they can expect to receive if they were to rent it out via their agency. So the landlord or the undercover agent has kind of said to them, look, we don't really want anyone who's not a white person, or we don't want any black people, I think is actually what he said, right?
By race.
Now listen to what he's about to say, because this seems to be something that is quite normalized. The way they've handled what the undercover reporters said, they seem to get this sort of thing all the time, right? So
openly advertising it that, no Afro-Caribbeans allowed, we would...
Smiling as well when he says it. So he's saying, without openly advertising no black Afro-Caribbeans allowed...
Obviously, understand that it's not available.
We would obviously, he says, just have to say that it's not available.
The Race Relations Act outlawed discrimination in services in England, Scotland and Wales, such as adverts stopping black people renting houses. Today, it may be more subtle.
You basically just put it on the system that no Afro-Caribbeans for this property, so that when somebody comes in, they won't basically advise them of this property being available.
Now, would any of them do it in practice?
Jeez. So, that's crazy. So this is another letting agency. So this guy's actually saying we will actually pull it on the system, I think is what he just said.
Services in England, Scotland and Wales, black people renting houses. Subtle.
You basically just put it on the system that no Afro-Caribbeans for this property. Just put it on the system that no Afro-Caribbeans for this property.
So we'll just put it on the system, basically. And look how nonchalantly he's just saying that, shrugging his shoulders. Yeah, we'll just put it on the system. No blacks allowed on no for this property. So basically he's saying on the agency computer system, we'll just put it in no black people. So if a black person sees an advert for that property, the people working there, can you imagine that? Now that I'm actually saying this, can you imagine that? The people actually working there will see that, and they would not rent it out if the person who's inquiring about it is a black person. So we're talking here about financial stress, but this ties into what we spoke about before, work-related pressure. So what if you're actually a black person who's even working in that sort of environment where look, I can't rent this out to another black person? How does that make you feel? What does that do to your self-esteem? Or would a place like this even hire a black person, Crazy.
That when somebody comes in, they won't basically advise them of this property being available.
Now, would any of them do it in practice? Yeah. Two researchers, one black, one white, will try to get a viewing on a flat we've put on the market. At this agency, our white researcher gets an appointment straight away.
It's Tuesday.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Tuesday's fine, yeah.
But when our black researcher asked to view the same flat, definitely still available.
It's already gone. Do you know if there's going to be any viewings at all?
No, it's already.
No. It's just gone. I mean, like, that's crazy. Like,
To view the same flat.
so let's.
Way. Researcher gets an
So the white guy's coming in now to inquire about said property. Look at him. He's off his feet.
way.
Big smile on his face. Look at him. Next Tuesday. Look at him.
Tuesday's fine, yeah.
But when our black researcher
Black
asked to
guy
view the
comes
same
in.
flat,
Look at his face. Why does he look confused? You're in a letting agency. A guy's coming, inquiring about a property, and this guy looks confused. He looks like, right, like, what are you doing in it? He's trying to rent a property. So this is what it's like for us. That look at his face. Like, he looks confused as to why somebody is inquiring about a property inside an estate agent's. Bonkers.
definitely still available.
It's already gone. Do you know if there's going to be any viewings at all?
No, it's already.
Look at him. No. It's gone.
The sort of practices we've seen displayed in the programme are not only worrying, they're absolutely disgraceful, they are unlawful, and they need driving out.
We asked the agents you saw why they were prepared to break the law. None responded.
On the run, you know.
This
Locked.
one refused
It's
to
all
open the
locked.
doors when he
Crazy.
saw us arrive.
Excuse me, can I ask you a question, please? Could you come and talk to us?
And look at this rat scurrying in the back. Crazy.
Please? And we found many more prepared to act in the same way. Guy Lynn, BBC News.
And you know, I wasn't
going
gonna say
in
it.
the same way.
Excuse me, can I ask you a question, please? Could you come and talk to us, please?
And
I wasn't going to say it, but I am going to say it, right? So, you know, this seems to be common practice, right? Up and down the country, where a lot of letting agents won't even give black potential tenants the chance to even view properties. When I was searching for this, like, there were multiple hits that came up for things that I'd not even seen. And this is only 2023, right? So racism makes it harder for me to rent. And even this is nuts. Look, landlords to receive anti-racism and hate crime training, because landlords are actually saying, look, I don't want black people in my house. Crazy. So they don't even care about the color of your money. The color of your skin is more important, right? So this is what we're actually having to deal with, right? And, you know, coming back to this dude here, right? These people, they don't even know anything about the potential tenants' affordability, right? So, i.e. what they earn, what they do for a living, etc. You can see how blasé and how cool they are telling the landlord, who actually, unfortunate for them, is an undercover agent. Yeah, if blacks come through, we're just telling the place is gone. The other guy, this guy, is even saying, we got a system for this, you know? So I myself, I've experienced this before. And, you know, not to sidetrack, but this is an example of why I hold some of the views I shared in the BAME video that I uploaded, you know. And although at the time of making this, that video still has 0 views, but in that video I spoke about us as black people being all that we have, right? So forget all the BAME or BME, black, Asian, minority, ethnic, and all of the people of color talk, yeah? Because this video shows, quote, people of color, because this will be considered a person of color discriminating against us as other people of color. So, do you know what I mean? Like, miss me with all of that holding hands, we're all one, because that's all BS, okay? These people, yeah, they're only with us when it benefits them. And another thing to realize as well, or another thing I should actually mention, is the undercover reporter in this instance is a white man. So he's not even an Asian man like what this guy seems to be. He's not even an Asian man, he's a white guy. So they have that understanding that even outside of BAME, they're willing to pander to the white people's concerns of black people because they feel the same and even worse. You know, a lot, like I said in that BAME video, a lot of hatred, blatant, brazen racism that I've actually experienced have been from non-white groups. Like I said in that video, you know, I've never had anyone from any white establishment actually say to me, you can't come in here because of the colour of your skin, they'll always make up some stupid excuse like, oh, you don't have the right shoes, you don't have the right shirt. I've been places up and down this country where I've had people from South Asian descent literally say, you know, you guys can't come in here because you're black, and be very brazen about it. So I thought that was worth mentioning. And, you know, we're talking about the financial side of things. There were a number of other things that I wanted to talk about, but like I said before, just making this video is kind of stressing me out. So I'm not even going to bother touch on those kind of things. But, you know, if we can't even find places to live, we can only imagine the kind of stress, worry, anxiety this kind of stuff is putting on us. Forget about our mood. It's gone through the floor right now. We're going to be, of course, massively depressed about these kind of things. Not even talking about money right now. You know, if you've got to go back to your missus and you can't even say to her, look, I've found a place for us to stay, she's going to be looking at you like you're just worthless, you know. So what does that do to your self-esteem? You know, what does that do to feelings of guilt or shame, you know? Let alone sleep problems, right? So that's enough on the financial side of things. We can't even find places to live, even with the crappy wages that we're getting.